What's up everybody, Remington Begg from Impulse Creative, and today I'm going to tell you how you can modify your Drift chat widget so that it routes to a different inbox in Drift. The other day I shared a tutorial on how to set up your inboxes in Drift so the email can be routed to them. Now what we're going to do is show you how you can modify your Drift widget that pops up on your website so that it is pointing to one of those inboxes. This can be really great because it can allow for you to separate sales opportunities from support opportunities, and it can allow for you to get a little bit more customization out of the Drift tool. Now I will warn you, this is a little bit more of a nerd alert type ordeal. There is going to be some code that we've got to embed on pages that you want this to happen. This doesn't just happen with a click of a button, but it can be a really great tool for you to route and also measure your responses in different areas. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So once you're in Drift, you'll notice that you've got your inboxes set up. If you don't, I've got a tutorial that shows you how to do that, and I'll link it in the description of this video. You can see up in the top left here, we've got Impulse Creative Growth Team, Impulse Creative, and Impulse Support. Right, so these are the different inboxes we have, and we've got different emails set up so that emails can be routed to each of these areas. And you'll see that we don't necessarily have any messages in this one at the moment. So what you need to do is we need to add a code to these inboxes, and this code that's highlighted right here, I'll have a link to this in the description of the YouTube video, and I can also help you out if you need assistance. Just let me know. But there's only one thing that's going on in this script, and it's changing the actual inbox ID. So I'm going to show you how to find the inbox ID and then where to put this code so that this shows up in your Drift messages whenever someone puts in information. So the code that we're going to be talking about is this one here, your inbox. One of the things that we want to do is we want to jump through and select the inbox that we desire to have the messages fall into. So I'm going to click Impulse Creative Support, and you'll see one thing that happens. We've got, when you click into Impulse Support, it'll say Impulse Support up at the top, and then you'll see it has this number in the URL. This number is the inbox ID for your account. So if we copy that, if we come back over and we change that to a different inbox, you'll see the inbox number changes, and that just shows you that that number there is specific to the inbox. All right, so once we have that, I'm going to go ahead and go into our HubSpot page. Now I'm doing this for the sake of demonstration purposes. You consult with a developer, or if you know what you're doing, then definitely do this. But if not, feel free to reach out and I can help point you in the right direction. So in the header HTML, this is going to be the async Drift code that is probably already installed on your website. It's typically installed in the header, and it's something that you don't really have to worry about touching. We're not editing that particular code whatsoever. What we're doing is we are dropping in the modified code into the footer HTML. So I'll walk you through how we're going to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our text editor, and where it says inbox ID equals 1, we're going to go ahead and paste in that inbox ID that we just copied from the URL. Then we're going to copy the entire script tag, so the open and the close of that script tag, and we're going to go ahead and drop that in the footer of the page that you want the chat to behave differently on. So this isn't something that's a global element unless you want it to be, but this is going to be something on a specific page. So say you have a support page and you've got different ways to reach out to you via support. On that support page, you could put this snippet of code that points to your support inbox, and now what you're doing is you're fielding conversations out of sales and more into the support side of things. So we've got our inbox ID, we've got our open, and we have our closing script tags. All we have to do is press update page now, and that is going to save. And essentially what's going to happen is if we refresh the page, this chat would go through into that support inbox. It would show up in your drift. It would show up on the mobile phone the same way. It's just going to be routing it into a different bucket. And if you use tools like DataBox for reporting, or you want to kind of separate where messages are going, this allows you to do it that way. Other applications would also be if you have multiple websites or you have microsites where you want to organize messages based on the type of business. It could be a couple, it could be a variety of things. You could break them up and you could set those rules on a global level. So now, if we take that one step further, let's say that you have a support engineer that handles one thing for your company, and they're the dedicated person around a certain product, or they're a dedicated person that you want to route leads to on a particular page. If you're going to be doing that kind of thing, we can also set it for that support inbox, but then also for that individual support person. So what I've done here in this example is I have that same example that we talked about, but what I've done is I've added in the assignee so that we're auto assigning this to an individual right from the chat. So if we take that same code and we drop that into the footer and replace our code that we had put previously, if we paste that in, you'll see that we have the name, we have the person's title, and we have the person's email. This email would have to correspond with an individual who is in your Drift account. And then of course the avatar URL is their profile URL. So you could replace this with a little square profile photo so that it shows up and looks very friendly on the site. So once you've dropped in all this information, you'll see we have Trevor Impulse 2, and I'm gonna write the word test so we can demo this. We go ahead and press update, and if we go back to that page and we pop up we click our pop-up, it's going to say Trevor Impulse Test 2 is who it's coming from, and the message that we wanted in there is going to be showcased, and it's all from that little snippet of code. Now, some of the other things you can do is overwrite the smart rules that you're setting in Drift for this particular page. There's a lot of different things you can do, but for the sake of this tutorial, setting up an inbox and then signing it to someone who's responsible for support, this is the way to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any other questions or anything else, please let us know in the comments or shoot me a message directly. And you can subscribe right here for our YouTube channel, and you can see other tutorial videos that we've done right here on this side. So thanks so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.